Kambosos has vowed to change all that and send the dream back home empty-handed. George Kambosos was asked how life has changed since winning the titles in late November over Teofimo Lopez. He said, "I've become obsessed. It's made me love boxing even more, and this right here is the moment he's been waiting for."
It wasn't that long ago that George Kambosos was living in an apartment with only a light bulb and a toilet. He didn't have a car. He and his wife were living there so that he could try to realize this dream. They didn't have the facilities to cook. They had to order food in. Imagine being in this moment, having been in the places that George Kambosos Jr. has been in. It's a remarkable story, and he's not ready to close the book quite yet.
And it's all worth it. All those sacrifices are worth it for this one moment.
George Kambosos Jr. walking to the ring with that confidence. The demeanor, business as usual, ready for war. This moment, years in the making for the Spartan. Born in Sydney to parents of Greek descent, his father's parents moved from Sparta to Australia. Kambosos with the famous Spartan war cry, "Never retreat, never surrender," tattooed on his body to honor his heritage, as you see the tale of the tape between Kambosos and Haney.
And the key for Haney, of course, that reach advantage. He is so adept with that lead hand. George Kambosos will have a lot to overcome in that respect.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment we've been waiting for. The Victorian government is proud to participate in the presentation of this event. Undefeated champion versus undefeated champion. 12 rounds of boxing for the undisputed lightweight championship of the world. Somebody's O has got to go. It's all brought to you by Hall of Fame promoter Lou DiBella and DiBella Entertainment in association with Hall of Fame promoter Bob Arum and Top Rank Incorporated. Along with Ferocious Promotions, Devin Haney Promotions, TIG Sport, and Duco Events. Sponsored by The Drop.Pro, the official NFT site. Visit Victoria, Culture Kings, Tab, and Crypto Spend. Sanctioned by the Combat Sports Board of Victoria and the World Boxing Council, the World Boxing Association, the World Boxing Organization, and the International Boxing Federation. At ringside, the officials scoring, our judges from Hungary, Zoltan Enyedi, from Poland, Pavel Kargini, from Canada, Benoit Rousseau, and the referee in charge of the action at the bell from Panama, Hector Afu. And now, from Marvell Stadium, here in Victoria, Australia, this is the contest the world has been waiting for. 50,000 fans in attendance. Ladies and gentlemen, the officials are ready. The fighters are ready. So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing khaki and officially weighing in at 134.92 pounds. His professional record is a perfect one. 27 fights, 27 victories, including 15 wins by knockout. From Las Vegas, Nevada, he is the lightweight fighting pride of the United States of America, the reigning and defending undefeated WBC lightweight champion of the world, Devin the Dream Haney. And across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing gold with blue, officially weighing in at 134.49 pounds. Like his opponent, he also has a perfect professional record, consisting of 20 fights, 20 victories, 10 wins by knockout. From Sydney, New South Wales, he's the lightweight fighting pride of all Australia, the reigning, defending WBA, WBO, IBF, and ring lightweight champion of the world, George Ferocious Kambosos Jr.
Okay, guys. I got the instruction, the dressing room. I want a clean fight, okay? Touch glove, good look. Thank you. Thank you.
After George Kambosos Jr. captured the titles against Teofimo Lopez in November, he said he highlighted Cus D'Amato's advice to Muhammad Ali when he fought George Foreman, saying, first round, hit him with your best right hand, show him that you can punch. Will we see that advice surface for a second straight fight with George Kambosos Jr.?
Hey, please.
Barring a draw or no contest, we will be crowning the 8th male undisputed champ in the 4-belt era. Here we go from Melbourne. George Kambosos Jr. in the gold and white trunks, Devin Haney in the khaki. Danny, what are you looking for in the first round?
I'm looking for George to impose his will. He's got to press forward. If he lets Devin get into a rhythm and just pick and move and kind of pick his shots, it's going to be very difficult. George has got to press the action, I feel, early. Devin's a very, very skillful guy with beautiful pinpoint accuracy. George is a guy that's going to come forward and use his mauling ability. He's also got skill with speed as well. Let's see how this goes, fellas. Very, very exciting atmosphere here.
The 3-inch reach advantage going to Devin Haney. The 71-inch reach makes that jab a very formidable weapon for the 23-year-old from Las Vegas.
And Haney would love for this fight to be kept at this pace. Kambosos wants the complete opposite. And the times that we have seen Haney in any trouble in his career, when he got caught by Jorge Linares, it's when people throw in combination. It's very hard to hit Devin Haney with just one shot. Yeah. But if you throw in combination, there reaches a point where he can't catch them all, and that's where he has been touched.
And Linares is a master combination puncher.
That win over Jorge Linares happening May 29th last year. Since then, a unanimous decision victory over former champion Jojo Diaz in Las Vegas.
No. Hey,
and again, in that fight, we saw the distance play a massive role. Devin Haney keeping Diaz at bay, timing everything perfectly, using the jab to his advantage, and running away with the win.
There's just so much at stake here. Both fellas are really, really looking for an opportunity to capitalize and score a clean shot, which is going to give them that confidence moving forward.
You see Kambosos already looking for that counter overhand right, the same one that dropped Teofimo Lopez in the opening round. You can see him looking for it already, but the long jab of Haney already presenting some problems.
Yeah, and it's stiff too. It's not a knockout jab, but it's stiff enough to walk into and hurt you. So George has got to be mindful of that, and he is at the moment. I was expecting George to jump on him early, but it's early days. There we go.
First combo of the fight for Kambosos.
Devin Haney scoring a nice jab there, though. Didn't get touched himself. He collected them in the arms, defended well, and scored a nice jab on the way in with George.
Hey, time.
Hector Alfu trying to store some order here early on.
Box.
Devin sets his jab upstairs up with the jab down below. He gets the attention downstairs and he whips one back upstairs. He goes the body off with the jab. With a right hand there by Devin Haney. Just caught George in the air. Wasn't a major shot, but he's starting to put some hands on him.
Haney's body came surging in with the punch.
Stop.
Plenty of jabs from Devin Haney in round one.
Close round. You have to say the round goes to Devin Haney on the amount of jabs he threw and landed.
Nice deep breaths. Come on.
Let him settle. Kambosos in the corner being advised by Javier Centeno.
Let him settle.
3, 4,
Former trainer of the year. And then his father, Jim Kambosos, just outside of the ring, hovering over.
So get that jab. As soon as he tries to counter that jab, that's when you
take a look back at some of the action from the opening round. It was the jab of Devin Haney. He controlled the majority of this frame. You see Kambosos trying to do what he does best, which is react and counter in combination. And they're looking for that big overhand right, just missing with that power shot.
Start of round 2 between Kambosos and Haney. And there have been 8 undisputed male champions. I beg your pardon, 7. We will have the 8th in the 4-belt era.
Devin just happy to sit there and just try and establish that jab. It's gonna really work into his game plan, I think. If he can stay at a distance and just control with his jab, he's got that reach, he's got that speed. George has got to impose his will. He can't sit back.
You know, one thing that Kambosos did against Lopez that he had success with that might work against Haney is finishing his combinations with a low left hook, because Haney likes to slip to his right just like Lopez did, and sometimes you can catch Haney dipping down to his right. You can catch him with that hook. We've seen Kambosos try it a couple times already.
Haney slipping to his left moments ago.
Yeah, just missed that right hand. Good pick up there, mate.
Well, with Danny Green and Corey Erdman, I'm Justin Shackle. This is the undisputed lightweight title fight between George Kambosos Jr. and Devin Haney here at Marble Stadium in Melbourne. And a connect by ferocious George Kambosos.
I think Devin's got to double that jab up. He's got to double that jab up. George is starting to read that single jab now, so he's got a bit of a flow going there, and I think George has just got to come forward and start roughing him up. He's got to try and rough Devin up.
Jab that lands from Haney. A snap jab. And another.
Devin's happy to just touch him, just lay hands on him to get his range up. A fighter like Devin's happy to just, even if he's not scoring clean, just to know where the range is. So then when an opportunity presents, he can land it. He just landed a good overhand clip on George's ear. Those shots hurt. Those ones inside that don't look much, they actually sting.
And they stick with you as well.
They thud. George is having trouble getting in through that jab again. Beautiful jab in there by Devin Haney.
How tough is that variation with the jab upstairs, downstairs, making it for George Kambosos?
It's really difficult because it's a stiff jab, Justin. He's not sure. He doesn't want to he can't just disrespect it and just allow it to hit him. And he's mixing that up and down, so he's not sure where it's coming. Is it going to go down? Is it going to go up? And that variation is kind of confusing George at the moment.
Devin Haney dictating the pace for a second straight round.
That was a terrific round for Devin Haney.
Without doubt, he's boxing beautifully. He's taking no risks. His eyes on. He's very sharp. George hasn't found a groove yet.
Look back at round 2.
Just a throwaway jab. Preoccupied, step in and go get it.
Some work on the inside there from George Kambosos. But once again, it was the jab from Devin Haney and the shots that set that up. The left hook there from Haney. Kambosos was able to counter that, but by and large, it was a round controlled with one hand by Haney once again.
He's going to try to counter back. Just step off.
Devin Haney off his stool first as we get ready for the third round. Haney, 23 years of age, trying to validate his standing in the lightweight division. Many peers, many fighters around the sport who bring criticism like to call him the paper champion, the email champion, as Kambosos unleashes a two-punch combo.
He actually landed a good right hand there, led Devin Haney behind the ear of George, just before George countered. I'm very surprised that George is fighting at this distance. It's not the fight he wants to try and take on at this stage. He needs to get forward and mold Devin Haney. Devin Haney's skill level is superior as far as crisp counter-punching and placement goes. George has got to rough him up and use his aggression.
Well, and that's one of the issues, I think, for Kambosos, because people hear the ferocious nickname and they automatically think he's a pressure fighter. He's a combination puncher, but I think George, and he would say this, probably fights best when he's circling, when he's moving backwards. He almost has to take on a new identity if he wants to get past what Haney is doing right now.
Oh, beautiful left rip in there by Devin Haney, counter left rip.
Going downstairs, and then the jab once again upstairs to the head of Kambosos.
I've got to say, Devin Haney's equipped himself. He's won a lot of fans here in Australia. His class, his humility, he's been an outstanding young man for the sport and representing his country and his family. Wow.
Two-punch combo from Haney. An impact right hand.
Big shots there by Devin Haney. George ate them up nicely. He's got to adjust, George. He's got to change up, or it's just going to be a long night for him, unless he can land that one big crack.
I mean, obviously, Kambosos doesn't want to take shots like that, but at the same time, the more confident Haney gets, the more chances he takes, the more opportunities Kambosos will get to counter. And I think the messier this fight gets, the better it is for Kambosos.
At the moment, the way this fight's going, Devin Haney's showing that there's the level of boxing he's got is superior to George's boxing levels.
Watch your head.
He's just doing some really nice things in there. He's not getting hit himself, and he's starting to bust George up. He's got to change his plan up, George.
And Corey, what you alluded to, Danny, as the confidence could possibly be growing right now. At the same time, how important is it for Devin Haney's eyes to not get too starry-eyed at the moment?
Very, very important. He can't get carried away, but I think he's showed the whole time he's been out here. He's classy, he's patient, he's poised. I think he knows not to jump in and do anything silly. Just get the victory if he can do that. See, again, he saw the punch coming. George is starting to get wild, but he's got to do more of that. He's got to take chances. So far, he's 3 rounds down.
Devin Haney a step or two ahead of George Kambosos from the outset. Through the first 3 rounds.
Landed a good left hook on the bell there too. Lead hook.
Punctuating a 3rd round for Devin Haney.
So far, it's been a clinic by Devin Haney. George has got to change his plan now, mate.
Breaking him down, bro. Now you see, reaching, he's stumbling. He's stumbling.
And as recent as 36 hours ago, this was a sight we thought we were not going to see. Bill Haney physically in front of Devin Haney.
Right? First, work your feints. Go first. He's going to react and then react. Okay? You got it. But look, I don't want no wild shit. You see that bullshit wild shit? Look, you can always roll under that. Nothing big. I don't want nothing too big. Right? Keep everything short.
Junior, don't hitting after on the ball, okay?
If Bill Haney was unable to make it and permanently be denied entry for this fight, Yoel Judah, who you saw on the ring apron, was going to be training Devin Haney as we get going here in the 4th round. His regular cut man, Bob Ware, detained at Melbourne Airport.
I think in that interaction in the corner, you see the value of having Bill Haney there, and you see the role that he's carved out for himself. He's kind of likened himself to like a football head coach or a music producer, where he takes the information from other people and he can calmly convey it to his son. There was some excitement in Haney's corner, and he was speaking to his son saying, listen, stay calm, just feint, get him to react.
Kambosos coming in, overshooting a right hand. Haney in his corner.
Well,
initially denied a visa.
His father's done a fantastic job with his son as a human being. You know, it's equally, it's more important to me than what they do inside the ring. You know, he's been a classy guy and he's won a lot of fans here in Australia, Devin Haney. His father should be very proud of him, particularly with the duress that he's facing, having his father and trainer not there. George is trying to mix it up, but he just can't quite get a groove, and Devin's kind of a bit clever at the moment.
All of the doors are shut at the moment for George Kambosos Jr. I'll find his seam and a way inside.
The difficult thing for George, if he's 8-9 rounds down the track and he's a long way behind and he needs a knockout, he's going to get desperate, and that's what's going to play into Devin Haney's hands because he's such an accurate puncher. George takes risks and gets a bit careless. Devin will catch him coming in and put him over. He's really struggling, George, with Devin's boxing IQ.
No.
And not just the punches he's throwing, but where he is and where he isn't. That's important.
When Haney is threatening and throwing those hooks just enough, too, to keep George honest. It's not just jabs. Kambosos can't just expect a jab to come and then counter over the top of the right hand. He also has to worry about those left hooks.
Spot on, mate.
Many have criticized the power, or lack thereof, in the hands of Devin Haney. He had to endure chance of feather fists as recently as the weigh-in yesterday. Obviously, that's gamesmanship for sure. But you have to make sure, for a young fighter, you want to try and prove yourself and not get over anxious in that area as well. Stiff left hand snapped up from Haney.
Tell you what you do notice here, fellas, is the crowd's very quiet. This crowd's very quiet because they know that at the moment their hometown hero is just not responding to what he should be doing. There's a good left hook by George Kambosos, the best shot he's thrown all fight.
And the crowd coming alive with that left hook.
Well, that might not be enough to win the round for Kambosos, but that's a big confidence boost. That's, as you said, the best shot of the fight for him.
You can never count a man like George Kambosos out. He's got such self-belief.
Okay? You have to be in that range to explode. Okay? Nice deep breaths. Give me deep breaths.
Start avoiding him, George. Start avoiding him. In your zone now, bro. You're in his zone, round by round, round by round.
Every time he misses, he's going to shoot forward, right? I want you to just take that little side step. Don't shoot forward with him. Take that little side step and bring it up. Bring it from the bottom up, okay? Let's not go one shot at a time when you counter. Okay? Right. You understand?
Take a look back at some of the action from the previous round.
Every time you throw your 2s and 3s, he starts to settle back and come down, right?
Kambosos had his best moments towards the end of that round. There it is, that left hook.
That was the best shot that George has landed all fight, fellas. So hopefully that gives him the confidence to then go, rightio. I know where he is now. I can touch him. I can get his distance.
Danny, how much does one punch, just one, open the horizons in terms of confidence for a fighter?
It wasn't a big shot that hurt him, so if he'd hurt David and wobbled him, then the confidence would be soaring, but he just landed a shot that, you know, it was a decent shot, but it wasn't one that's going to really make him go, I can hurt this guy. So he's got to land 3 or 4 or 5 or more of those in this round to give him the confidence. Oh, big uppercut inside there from the left by Devin Haney. Like a straight jab on the way up. It was a beautiful shot.
Well, those are the risks that Kambosos has to take if he wants to start putting some rounds in the bank. And in the last round, if you notice Kambosos' feet stepping a little bit closer, stepping to the left a little bit, trying to open something up where he can land that left hook, but then you also put yourself right in the alleyway for that uppercut.
Kambosos coming in, landing a right hand to the body.
Good jab there again by Devin Haney, but George is starting to take the risks that he needs to do early in the fight. He's starting to come on now. He's starting to try and assert his authority, trying to bully him in there.
Hector Afu getting in the middle of George Kambosos and Devin Haney.
Clean fight.
You see that tattoo on the back of George Kambosos. It reads no retreat, no surrender. Even though there haven't been many openings so far through the first 4 rounds, there's no quit. Like Danny said, to count out Kambosos.
Big right hand there by Devin Haney. And George ate them very well, but he's just got to stop taking those shots. He's walking into jabs. Devin's really only been tagged 3 or 4 times cleanly. He's really, really relaxed. He's, you know, he's very fresh. Oh, good right-hander there by Devin Haney. He's just got all the answers so far, fellas.
Comes on a nice angle switch. 40 seconds to go in round 5. So far, Devin Haney has been in complete control of George Kambosos Jr. Overhand left, a little too wide from Kambosos.
Please, Kambosos. Hey. 10 seconds.
Despite closing the distance there, Kambosos not getting any punches in on Devin Haney. Devin Haney controlling the rhythm, the spacing, and overall the first 5 rounds of this undisputed title fight.
It's getting away from George at the moment. He's going to want to step up really fast. Round 5, 6, 7, and 8. He's going to want to win. He doesn't want to be in a position where he's chasing a knockout, particularly with a sharpshooter like Devin Haney.
Okay? I want you to set it. Don't go right for it. I want you to set it up again. Okay? Set it up top. Give him that jab, left hook up top. Okay? Then you settle in to throw that right hook downstairs. But when you throw it, I need that left hook up top, right? So it's got to be bang, bang, right?
See some more of the handiwork of Devin Haney. There's that right hand right behind the ear. Kambosos trying to do what he does best. Again, countering in combination. But time and time again, it's the length of Devin Haney, it's the jab of Devin Haney that is getting Kambosos to misjudge the distance and run into power shots.
Here we go with round number 6. Devin Haney and George Kambosos Jr. for all the hardware at 135 pounds. And Devin Haney looking to leave Australia with all of the jewels. There's a rematch clause that he would have to return to Australia, but he's trying to make history, build a legacy. It would certainly begin here in Melbourne with the victory, trying to become the youngest undisputed champ in the 4-belt era.
This has really surprised me that Devin's able to just sit and pick and stick and move and kind of have his own way. He's really relaxed in the corner there. Devin Haney was barely puffing hard. Like he's in a real zone, this kid, but you can never count George out. He's got plenty of time to go, over half the fight, but he's got to start going now. He needs a lot more of that non-stop. Where's that relentlessness that he usually portrays? It's got to be in there.
Quick jab from Haney. And there's that jab from Kambosos, followed by the right.
It's a bit better from George there, coming back, but he's got to continue. He can't just sit and let this guy have his own way.
Trying to counter off the Haney jab.
Haney, break.
Haney has so many tools in the toolbox. He's a really unique fighter in this day and age, and that the Haney camp through the years has brought in dozens of different trainers to work with Bill Haney depending on what they think they need for a particular fight.
Good left hook there by George Kambosos.
And landed square on the chin of Devin Haney. You hear the chants from Kambosos' corner. That's what you have to do.
What's interesting too here, fellas, is Devin Haney, the size of him, he just looks more imposing physically. He looks like he's more filled out from the way, and he looks like a bigger person there than George. I was surprised.
Well, I mean, we can go back to the fact that Kambosos needed an extra 70 minutes to make that weight.
No, break. Hey. Hey, clean fight, man. Clean fight.
Oh, both boys scoring good jabs there.
This is a better round for Kambosos in terms of getting more jabs inside.
Hey. No, Haney.
Well, this is the kind of intensity from Kambosos that could potentially get Haney off of his game. If you're looking for a way to do it, these are the types of moments you're looking for.
Haney calling for a low blow. Hector Afu letting the action continue.
Another good jab there by Devin Haney.
Better round for Kambosos. Did he do enough to win?
I don't think so. I'd love to say as an Australian, he did enough to win, but I don't think so. If I'm being fair and unbiased, I think that's 6 rounds to zip for Devin Haney. He's just scoring the cleaner shots.
Right hand, left hook, okay? That's where we step off, and then throw that right hand left hook. It's there, okay? But remember, don't go for it straight away. It has to be set up, okay? But now when you touch it, bang, bang, come over the top of the left hook.
You want the pressure, you gotta fucking you break me down, take your time.
Tell you what, as you look at the fight stats, you wouldn't think that the punching totals for Kambosos would be as close to Haney as they are. Yeah, it's still a roughly 45 punch margin. Still, that seems a lot closer than we would think. Here we go with round number 7. Haney Green has Devin Haney up 6 rounds to none in this undisputed title fight.
Geez, that was a sensational left lead uppercut there off the counter. He countered off his jab. It's class. George has got to double up a lot more. He's got to double up, got to press him, got to push him back, got to get him in there and rough him up. He's not going to win a boxing contest.
Danny, when you're in there with a fighter like Haney, who can do so many things with his left hand, how hard is it to pick up a shot exactly like that?
Beautiful.
When he jabs so well, how do you pick up what's coming?
It's difficult. It's very difficult. So George can't afford to sit and just wait for these shots. He's got to get in the zone. He cannot sit on the outside. He's got to get right on his grill. Get in there where he is there right now and start working and roughing up. If he sits out there and just eats that jab all day, he's not going to be able to see out both those eyes pretty soon if he keeps wearing those jabs. In the first 30 seconds, he scored 3 or 4 beautiful left hands.
There's some swelling on that right eye of George Kambosos, and again the combo coming in and scoring from Haney. Counter left from Kambosos.
That was a good little short chopping right in there by George. That's what we want to see more of. He's got to do unorthodox punches.
Smacking right hand to the body from Haney.
Oh, good jab in there by Devin Haney.
He's been doing that move all day. He'll continue to do it if Kambosos lets him. That left hand leading the charge.
There we go. Right hand there by George. Just grazed him. If George can land a really good, clean, hard shot, it's going to lift his confidence because he needs it at the moment. I can tell you as a fighter, when you're down hard in a fight, it's demoralizing if you can't land a good, clean one.
Hey, watch your head.
Kambosos would certainly have to start piling up some rounds at this point. It's not quite at that point of no return yet, but it's not that far off where he'll need a big moment to turn this thing around.
Another landing shot. Like I'm not sure what the judges are doing, what they're seeing, but from where we're sitting, where I'm sitting, I think Devin's clearly outpointed him in every round, apart from maybe the first round, where it could have been an even one.
Haney meets Kambosos with a right hand moments earlier, as Kambosos tried to come in yet again. Danny, what stands out to you about the footwork, the maneuvering from Haney?
Very clever. Very clever, very, his fundamental boxing skills, his footwork, they're sensational. He's got a big future, this young kid, but his footwork is very stable. I like how he's got a wide stance. His back toe's always kind of on the ball of the back foot, always ready to fire at any given time. He's class, this kid.
The feet, the left hand, showcased heavily in round 7 for Devin Haney.
Good. He's going to go ahead.
Stop running him down.
Remember, he's going to close the jab as soon as he misses. I need that little angle change. And that little angle change has to be quick. Remember, we need more.
Fight the shoulders. Okay? You see, you don't have nothing on the hook side. Nothing. Okay? I mean, more feints. right? And listen, every time he goes into the high guard, he don't got nothing. Okay? Keep him in the high guard in, okay? Huh? Keep him in the high guard. That's why you keep him with the feints.
Stay away from the right hand.
He looking for one punch now. You know what I'm saying? He looking for one shot. Don't give it to him. Keep boxing. Bust his face with that jab.
Start of round 8 between Kambosos and Haney, and you heard Bill Haney, the father, the head trainer of Devin Haney, telling him, watch out for that one shot. He is looking for it at this point in the fight, perhaps. You do not want to potentially fall in that trap, Corey, of what we saw in the Jorge Linares fight, where one punch late from Linares led to Haney hugging in the later rounds and really wiped away a lot of quality work that he put on Linares in the early rounds.
Well, and Kambosos is the type of fighter that is going to be dangerous at all times because he has a level of self-belief that some might describe as completely unrealistic. I mean, he genuinely believes he has manifested everything that's happened in his career, but he does believe it, and he's going to believe in himself right to the final bell.
Oh, he's a junkyard dog, George, so you can never count this fella out, but Devin Haney's just landing the cleanest shots. He's seeing him coming. He's seeing George's punches come. George really has to adjust and do something different than what he's doing now. It's the perfect fight for Devin at this pace, at this range.
George Kambosos perhaps feeling the urge to change something up here in round 8 against Devin Haney. It's as if Kambosos has been locked out of his house this entire fight, and he's just searching for a way, either in the front, the back, through a window. Everything's locked.
He might have to come down the chimney like Santa Claus, fellas, because at the moment, it's all locked up, as you said, Justin, but he's the kind of guy who can find a way. He's a junkyard dog, this fella.
I think this will be a test of Haney's maturity, too. Again, he's only 23 years old, which is remarkable to think when you look at his skill and how he operates, but he's so close to basically his lifetime goal, maybe a goal most fighters wouldn't even fathom, becoming undisputed champion. And really all he has to do is continue doing what he's been doing. Can he avoid the temptation to get over anxious and make a mistake down the stretch?
You're right, Corey. Maturity. And at the age of 23, who can say they were a mature person at the age of 23? Particularly in such an intense, exciting moment. But if he can maintain this composure, then he is going to achieve that incredible lifelong dream. And what an achievement.
Haney moving around with more bounce in his step. Getting away from those Kambosos advances. And the crowd coming alive here at Marvel Stadium, trying to get back on the shoulders of George Kambosos.
That's what George needs more of. He needs this.
Another round for Haney.
He shows something, and then Devin just kind of shuts him out, like you said, shuts him out with just a straight jab. That's the difference between these fellas, is the jab. Unfortunately, George has not shown his jab, and Devin's dominated the fight and set everything up behind it. So far, it's been a very, very nice display of boxing by Devin Haney.
He didn't like it. That's what you got to do. Maintain their focus and composure. Straight after your text, George. This is where you're rolling now, round by round.
40,000 plus, let's get them behind you.
Look what happened. They all wake up. You got to be doing this. You got to make them uncomfortable now. You fucking got your son waiting for that fucking belt, your daughter. It's your home, George.
Jim Kambosos there, trying to give his son the motivation, using his kids as motivation, which is a big, big, big motivator for a father and a fighter.
Beginning of round 9 in this undisputed title clash. A lightweight champion will walk out of here with all the hardware.
Well, I think those instructions in the corner, good shot there by Haney. That's very indicative of where we are in this fight, guys, because they didn't give Kambosos any instructions. They were trying to push all of his buttons, telling him about...
Oh! Haney.
Big right hand, clubbing right hand to the side of the face there.
Kambosos comes back with a right. Stabbing jab from Haney to the body. And a good combo, and again, the quickness and the foot movement from Devin Haney.
Devin Haney's eyes like an eagle soaring above the hills looking for a bit of prey, you know? That's a slip. His eye is on. He's just so composed, but he's so focused.
George Kambosos, for a moment, under the impression that he scored a knockdown, but Devin Haney tripping, and we are back in proceeding here in round number 9. A fight that Devin Haney has controlled the entire way.
Wow. I just saw something very interesting. George Kambosos nearly switched to southpaw, which tells me as a fighter, man, I've got to try something else. This isn't working, so he's pulling out all stops. And as I said, if he's got to look for a knockout, which he is, it's going to make it easier for Devin. He's going to bring him onto those shots when he's desperate.
Well, and that goes back to what we heard in the corner. They're not telling Kambosos anything technically that he can do, because there's almost a conceit that I don't know what you can do other than to try, as you keep saying, to be a dog in there, make this as messy as possible and see what happens.
Devin's now really having his way with George. George is getting desperate. He's going to come onto him more. It's going to. I hope George just doesn't walk on a big one. There he lands a good shot by George. That's what we need to see more of from George Kambosos.
And maybe that's what he needed to hear in the corner as well.
Another jab connecting from Haney.
And Haney's very comfortable on the ropes there because he's such a consummate sharpshooter. He's happy to be on the ropes and have his back there and allow George to come in and just eat a shot as he walks in.
More aggression, more action, a little bit more volume for George Kambosos in round number 9, but Devin Haney controlling it all very well.
You need to be sharper on your shots. You need to sharpen up. You're a sharpshooter.
Take a look back at the previous round. There's some body work from Devin Haney, but now just outright aggression from George Kambosos. This is obviously a slip. But we've reached desperation time for George Kambosos. And he is certainly trying everything he possibly can with just a handful of rounds to go.
And you wonder what other desperate measures may we see here in rounds 10, 11, and 12 from George Kambosos.
He absolutely needs to stop Devin Haney to win this fight.
Yeah, or a big collection of knockdowns. One of
he
the
needs
two.
one in each round.
Right.
Devin Haney trying to leave no doubt here in Melbourne. Looking to become the youngest undisputed champ in the 4-belt era and ruin the homecoming party for George Kambosos Jr.
Fit.
Oh, good counter left hook there attempted by Devin Haney. George just sitting in Devin Haney's range.
Let's watch, rinse, repeat with that left hand and the movement from Devin Haney.
Good left hook.
Oh, cracked him with the left-handed Kambosos, yes.
But prior to that, Kambosos ate about 4 jabs without reacting to them. I think he's decided, I have to just go for it. I have to walk in the front door by any means necessary.
He's got to go out in his shield, fellas, in front of this crowd. He's got to go out in his shield.
Cracked him with an overhand right.
There's a left hook from Haney at the same time, but Kambosos doing everything he needs to do right now, or anything he can do at the moment, to try and get to Haney.
Haney jab stamping the forehead of Kambosos. Kambosos coming inside. And again, Haney creating the distance.
As a fighter, I'd rather get carried out than walk out having lost and not given my all. And that's what George has got to do. And I think he's going to try and do it, but he's got to go out swinging. There's a big crowd here, paid a lot of money to come and see this fight. It's huge. He's got to go out in his shield.
Well, by any means necessary. We're starting to see that from George Kambosos.
And that's what's going to get him the victory if he can do it. But he cannot do it sitting back here trying to outbox a guy who is outboxed in the whole night.
Snap jab from Devin Haney.
Oh, beautiful 1-2 on the way in there.
And caught him inside with another left.
Oh, side of the head there. They hurt those shots. George, unfortunately, just cannot find the answer for this puzzle that is Devin Haney. The left hook there by George.
Break.
Devin Haney's punches finding a landing spot more and more as the 10th round progresses.
As Kambosos has upped the intensity, Haney has matched it here in the 10th round.
Devin Haney fighting fire with fire, something George Kambosos did with Teofimo Lopez back in November. Now he's on the other end.
Having been around the fight game for a long time and looking and studying fighters, I think George, and I have a clue, but I think George is overtrained, a bit flat. I think the occasion has got to, because normally when he gets hit, and he throws 10 back. Now he's throwing 1 or 2 back. I think he might be a bit flat physically, and might have left it in the gym and left it in the press conference and in the weigh-in and all the energy that he's used in the lead-up, but it's a big event. He looks a bit overdone, whereas Devin Haney looks like he's... If you like your steak medium rare, man, he's cooked on point. He's just peaked for this fight. He looks sensational.
See some of the rough stuff from Kambosos in the previous round, hanging onto the hand of Devin Haney and trying to land a right hand at the same time.
Here we go with round number 11. The crowd largely being subdued in this championship fight, as George Kambosos Jr. unable to find an opening, any seam, in large part against Devin the Dream Haney.
There's that up and down jab from Devin Haney that's been working all night, and he walks him on a stiff left as he comes in.
Smothered him with that left. We were talking about it. Give credit to Haney at the moment here in the 11th round. He's staying with his game plan. There have been no lows like we've seen in the past.
Remember, this is the round where Haney had that scary moment against Jorge Linares. We have seen him hurt in the past. Of course, he responded well.
Move.
And he responded safely as well. He knew he had that fight in the bag, and he made sure that he heard the final bell and took the decision.
Break!
I'd be very surprised if he does anything risky. Having been there myself and lost the fight in the 11th round, a year later I was in the 11th round and had the chance to stop a fella for the title, and I just finished the fight and got the job done.
How big of an itch is it, though, to go to those areas?
Man, you want to have the crowd on their seat. You know, you're a fighter, you want to entertain. But I think Devin's too smart for that, and he's entertained all night with his class and his skill. There's no need to take risks. He's about to do something monumental that not many people get to do.
Hey, what's up, my friend?
Hector on through the third man in the ring, doing a nice job through the first 11 rounds, controlling the two fighters. That jab snapped Kambosos' head back. Kambosos looking to drive in a left hand.
Good left hook there by George, but Devin caught it, but unfortunately it's too little too late. He needs to be doing that from the get-go. Good jab by George, but Devin's got the answer again.
Exquisite movement from Devin Haney.
Wow, that was sensational.
Haney coming off the ropes in round 11 in that sequence. 30 seconds to go here in the 11th round.
Oh, sharp shooting there, just popping the George's head back with a nice little crisp right.
Locked and loaded.
I can tell you now, Devin Haney is now in a sparring session. He's so tuned in and he's so on point. He's just cruising. When I say cruising, it's an intense cruise, but man, he's on fire. He can see it all.
George Kambosos tapping the gloves as if to say, come on, let's continue here. Oh, Haney, continue to give it to him.
Yeah, it's another round in the bag, and if he doesn't knock him out, you know, he's lost his fight, and Devin Haney is the new undisputed lightweight champion of the world.
You need to get those feet underneath you and press behind that jab or a nice solid right hand left hook. I need you to end every single combination with that lead hand. It keeps you in position to defend anything he throws.
Your fight, mate. Come on, mate. Round 12.
Let me see a little bit more trunk movement, okay?
George,
Nice deep breath.
good effective pace before you attack, please. Good
Stop
pace.
for me.
Come on, mate.
Let's take a look back at round 11.
Don't jump in with it.
Last round.
Haney getting the right hand involved, making Kambosos miss, turning him. It's been a frustrating night for George Kambosos. What does he have in the final 3 minutes? Devin Haney called this the Super Bowl of the lightweight division. So far, this has been Super Bowl 24. It has been a blowout.
12th and final round. And Devin Haney seemingly 3 minutes away from becoming boxing's youngest undisputed champ in the four-belt era. 23 years of age. Haney arrived in Australia on May 18th alone. Again, his father, Bill Haney, denied entry initially. It was only on Friday afternoon, about 36 hours before the start of round 1 here, that the country allowed Bill Haney to enter. He's been in his corner. The advice seemingly has been staged because Devin Haney has been sharp, well-oiled, and a boxing machine here in the biggest stage of his pro career.
And this is why Devin Haney has got such a huge future. His finesse and poise at such a critical moment. He's just relaxed. He's not trying to do anything silly. He knows what's at stake in this last 2 minutes of this fight. It's immense, and he's really, really impressed me. And as I said before, I know he's won so many fans out here with this, the way he's conducted himself, but in here tonight, man, he's boxed amazingly.
Well, and the fact, Danny, that we're talking about Devin Haney's future. He's on the cusp of becoming an undisputed lightweight champion. He's 23, and we're still thinking, where is his ceiling? The fact that this isn't his ceiling is extraordinary. It speaks to just what a talent Devin Haney is.
Another left hand, and there is a cut on the right eye of Devin Haney. There's a little blood dripping down.
Oh, another jab.
No,
Beautiful jab. His timing's been sensational tonight. Every time George has gone to advance, he's just throwing a stiff left out there.
My mistake from my angle. It looked like there was a cut. Devin Haney, pretty clean.
Boxing's the art of hitting and not getting hit, and this has been a clinic tonight from Devin Haney.
Right hand from Kambosos.
Haney enjoying the moment. There's 44 seconds left. Man, the feeling he must have in his veins right now would be the best feeling ever.
Devin Haney began his career fighting in Mexican bars south of the border. 500 fans or so, all rooting against him. He said he knew he had to leave nothing to chance as far as the scoring from judges. Same story here. 50,000, not 500. But he knew that he couldn't leave anything to chance. And he took it all on himself.
He's about to cover himself in glory, fellas. Cover himself in glory. And that's why fighters do it, the glory.
A boxing masterclass from Devin the Dream Haney.
The Haneys have bet on themselves, and I think they just hit the jackpot.
Wow. That was a masterclass performance by Devin Haney on a guy that was on a roll. George was on a high after beating Lopez.
And the two fighters embracing after months of chirping back and forth. All smiles here, at least for Devin Haney. The question is, guys, as dominant as a performance that Devin Haney obviously put on, we'll wait to see what the scorecards look like. I know there is a rematch clause, but where do we go from here? Is there a need for a rematch?
I mean, after that, that felt pretty conclusive. But if you're George Kambosos, again, we've talked about his self-belief. I'm sure he thinks that, yeah, in round 13, I'm going to get to it. And if contractually it's there, let's do it again. I won't mind coming back here.
Hey,
but it's up to George.
It'd be great to see you, fellas.
Hey, the steak's been great.
Right.
Yeah, fantastic. Take you out and ride a couple of kangaroos. But yeah, the rematch, who knows what's going to happen? Is George, I mean, if a fighter's going to exercise that right, for sure. Is the crowd going to want to see it? Are they want to see it again? Is Devin Haney going to grow from this and become an even better fighter? I think the answer is yes. Is George having a flat night, and can he lift and make this an exciting fight and potentially beat Devin Haney? They're the questions that need to be answered.
Also, does Devin Haney, after achieving what he probably achieved here, again waiting for the judges' scorecards, does he go to 140?
I mean, it's possible. He's a big 135-pounder. And he will have a future at 140 pounds. Whether he wants to do it right now remains to be seen, because, as we know, there is a lot of money to be made at 135 with Tank Davis, with Ryan Garcia, with many more, with Lomachenko. The money right now is at 135 and not at 140, but he's a growing man whose body will make some decisions for him at some point.
He looked like he was pretty comfortable at the weight, but he's a young man, and as you fill out and you get older, your muscle tone, you actually get leaner, stronger muscle. It's difficult to lose that weight because you are just, you're a thicker person, and I think not too long before Devin Haney steps up. He's going to have to for his own goodness, because losing that weight is going to be too difficult for him because he's so young. Man, what a performance.
I think the only question now is whether Devin Haney pitched a shutout on the scorecard.
Yeah.
We are going to get the official announcement from Michael Buffer in moments. There are a lot of people in this ring here in Melbourne. I see Bob Arum.
I hope they've got some supports on this ring, fellas. It's packed.
Yeah, this looks like the Royal Rumble right now, guys.
In fact, some people are being told to exit the ring as we get the particulars in moments from Michael Buffer. But a complete dominant performance by Devin Haney, likely seconds away from becoming the next undisputed champion in boxing.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds, we go to the scorecards. Zoltan Anyeti and Benoit Rousseau both scored it, 116 to 112. Pavel Cardinha closed it, 118 to 110. All three judges have it for the winner by unanimous decision. From Las Vegas, Nevada, USA, now the universally recognized undisputed lightweight champion of the world, Devin the Dream Haney.
For Devin Haney, the dream has been achieved. He is boxing's youngest undisputed champion in the four-belt era.